Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Wherever you connected from, this is Felix Jimo and the team leader of Planbxpress. That's our weekly market update and what we sometime. Um, of course, markets about probability, and we work with the higher probability and what we actually imagine to happen in the market, and that's what we work with. Now, remember, in Plan B, we explore the global financial market. So in case you're joining us for the first time, you're welcome. What we do in Plan B is to show you how to be personally involved in its call operation, do it yourself. However, we leverage on so many tools and opportunity platforms that will help people to maximize profit. But the bottom line is this: we want people to be personally responsible, in building their finances. So on that note, we explore anything that has to do with financials, but of course, we take much of advantage of the crypto industry being the youngest and of course the one that have a very great expansion bay. However, three segments we look at is the first, investing. And what has to do with investing is not a big language. It's about buying into, you know, stocks opportunity, right? And leveraging on their price appreciation. And that's one of the things that we'll first of all recommend for people. For talking about investing, buying into different asset class and holding on to them, and over time make profit on price appreciation. However, we have some other articles that when you get involved into, maybe like the capital market, you get to make money on dividends and bonuses apart from the price appreciation. And then we talked about cryptocurrency, buy coins, stake them, farming. Now, but I really want to enlighten the public about staking farming. It has been actually abused. So, what's staking normally is not what we used to have now. So, what we have now are more level of permutations and combinations, and hype would make believe people to believe that they're actually doing some, good staking, but unfortunately, they aren't doing it. So please, if you're joining us for the first time, first thing we recommend for people is to have a wallet where you can buy coin and hold onto. And of course, the first recommended wallet for on-chain holding storing is called the MetaMask. And I'm not gonna go to all of those training, just to let you know that the opportunity abound in the crypto space to buy, hold coins, and of course, find a place to stake them. Now, because of the popularity in the Solana ecosystem, Phantom became so much popular, right? Where you can just, download the wallet down your mobile app, right? Or you can go to have it on your desktop, which has to do on the Chrome extension and all of that. So there are different wallets, of course, you can store tokens and of course find a way to stake them and all of that. But we really still want to enlighten the public when it has to do with staking, funny platform project everywhere, that you can actually give definition to how they generate money and people are subscribing to that. Well, they always have expiring date. That's one of the problem that people have. You're sure if you're listening to us or you're connected, you must have seen and heard how people lose money every day by day. And of course, there's a misrepresentation about the crypto industry to the populace. So what you normally used to hear there is not the reality. And that's why we encourage people to learn basic, to really understand and decipher, to be able to get involved independently by themselves and maximize the opportunity. But let's look at the market. Um, and then we said, if that is the case, we now go into the aspect of where we want people to equip themselves with upskill training, which is getting involved to buy low, sell high, or buy and sell. Okay, because there's difference between buy low and sell high, and then we have buy and sell. So buy and sell does not really have anything to do with either low or high. Now you can always get into the market anywhere it gets to, and that's where the skill differentiates. Now, so in crypto, if you look at one of the forum I have here, and you will see different stuff showing you and all of that, it's a kind of giving me an ahead information on to buy into some tokens and all of that. I see best daily performance, that's in 24 hours. These tokens, they are not new tokens. They are just like AI trying to research more, update about them and give it to you. And for many of us to know that this token make us crazy money in 2023, if I'm not mistaken. We bought it from before it gets to the populace, all right. All right. And so we bought into it a long time and make a lot of money. Okay. Making using $100 to make 10,000 or more than 10,000 and all of that, which is bunk, right? I'm just showing you dimensions so that you don't get yourself into trouble trying to identify, all right, opportunity. I think it's actually trying to break out again. But of course, no matter what any token want to break out on, their power is still solely dependent on the performance of Bitcoin. Those are the things we always identify when it has to do with all this opportunity. Now, I'm showing us all of this so that we know how to maximize or leverage on opportunity. So, this about 19 hours ago was when it was spotted. All right, Strike, XD Next, and all of those things. These are tokens that just came on board, came up in their market movement, maybe a massive kind of breakout that was happening. And so what I do most time is that when I got such notification and I go in to look at my market practically. But the most important thing is that what I do is when I trade and make money, then you spread your earning, your money you make into investing. And so now we look at the market in holistic approach. So what market are we looking at? We look at generally the crypto market. We look at the Forex market. We look at the commodity market. All right. We look at the capital market, which has to do with stock. And why I have to start to let you know about investing. Investing is the backbone of any financial breakthrough. So it's not compulsory for everyone to become an entrepreneur. It's not compulsory for everyone to become a trader, for instance, like crypto forex trader. But I can tell you, no matter what you do, if you're not investing, you're actually creating a very bad debt bricks for yourself. You're dying. So, savings have actually been replaced by investing. So what's actually compulsory for everyone, irrespective of who you are, is to make sure you have a way of investing. All right. So now let's look at the market as a whole holistically. And if you've been following us, we talked about the market in a holistic approach, looking at the market as it were. But one of the first backbone of the market, irrespective of which market you're looking at, is called the index of the dollar. Now, many of you, if you have been attending our Sunday market update, you see that we have always been narrating what could be the impact or the effect of the dollar index. So it's called DXY if you go to technical, and what would be the impact or what will it play? And so all you need to know is that, okay, what is it like? And how is it going to behave for this particular period of time? And how do I take advantage? Okay. Taking advantage of this is one of the, paramount aspect of your business, irrespective of what you do. Most time people think that, okay, it's only traders. Now, I normally tell friends that the best trader must have an investor's mind. The best trader must have an investor's mind. You think I'm like, you can search top global, traders in the world. You hear about one man they call whatever Sorrow and how he took a trade. And the history I have read about most of those guys is that number one, the aspect of their strategy and the aspect of longevity and times of psychology that they were able to take. And it still boils down to what they did to become exceptional were not only technical, but they were able to go into macro understanding. That's about a high level of economic influence to understand what behavior or what policy, and then align with the sentiment. For instance, I'm sure many persons wouldn't know that when it has to do with trading, if you have macro understanding, then you're going to do well. So, on that note, we tell people if you must be trading because trading is beyond what we think is, because most people do, when they hear about trading, they think about scalping. No, it's beyond that, okay? So, most people, what they limit trading to is something like this. Let's say I was using a tool, I was just checking. What they use trading to be something like this: scalping, maybe 5 minutes in 1 minute, and all of that. This one is like hustling. Okay, you can see before now I send this thing, the trading this account, enter a trade and short, and TP1, TP2 were from here. I think TP3 2 was taken and it didn't get to the 3, but eventually it reboot again. All right. Now that's where most people get it wrong, and then they are unable to cope eventually. And they think that okay, trading has to do with this being on the screen every time. No, beyond that. Trading are in different fashion, and it all depends on what you want to achieve per time. But if you don't think the longevity of your trading, I bet you're going to be a slave to trade. All right. And of course, if you don't have a plan to back up your trading outcome, then you'll be hustling forever. All right. So it's beyond just hustling. Now, that's why we tell people, why do we look at the index of the dollar? Index means to look at the strength. To what extent is this thing trending? So if that is the case, we look at the index of the dollar. And because that almost everything across the globe economically had their dependency on dollar to an extent. So just don't quote me wrong. So, but to an extent, they have their dependency. Those that probably wouldn't have may not be, maybe a regional economy, stuff like that. Okay. So maybe a regional economy. But you can tell me, irrespective of where you are, you discover that the strength of a dollar, either low or down, or either up or down, has some significant effect on the economy of your country. For instance, I'm in Nigeria and I know the effect or the impact. I've been shouting many, many years back. And what you trade is not technical alone. What you trade is the fundamental, that's the economy policy of different countries. Let me use a practical example because while you are trading, let this sound into your mind. We're looking at what do we expect this week? So what I expect in a particular week is not dependent on what I'm looking at in the chart, are combinations of what I have access to as about policy changes, update, crises, different things altogether, both the known and the external variables put together. And then we look at, okay, let's look at the data, which can be empirical in nature. Now it's going to be empirical in nature, but this will be feeder of data you're getting. So country have changed these. Oil price have done, they have cut down on these. These are factors. These are data that you're going to look. Okay, so let's now look at the sentiment, the behavior of people. Now, so looking at DXY, I told us that we saw a massive move on DXY last week. And if you look at my chart, I told us this, that DXY, no matter what it's doing, we had a stoppage here, but I said, okay, DXY is actually taking some move to an extent to go up. But we still have a stoppage there. It was able to break to an extent. And I said, look at this line up here. What? 97.560 is another limitation for it. And it moved towards that, couldn't achieve that, and then bought down. Now, so for a long-term forecast investor, still know that as far as dollar is concerned for now, it's still weakening. So for that, it's still weakening. Forecasting long-term activities or position trader investors, swing traders are not going to be bullish on DXY. For now, it's still practically bearish. So, but taking an effort, but nevertheless, if look at it inwardly, whatever currencies that is paired with dollar, you want to look at how the DXY, that is the strength of dollar, is twisted If it's twisted up, then you want to go down on the currency paired with them, depending on either they are the what do they call them? Either they are the currency is paired as dependent or independent with it. I try to not to speak too much big English. So, but what I'm trying to picture to many of us is that trading is not the way we actually think. We exhaust our mental ability so much. You stay on the screen, you look at the market every time, and all. Sometimes you open market, you stay with it. Now, that's a slave to the market. And many persons too who do not understand think that because the longer you stay with the market, the bigger you make money. That's not really true. All right. So that's what I'm trying to picture to us. So now looking at DXY, we are still bearish. So now we can conclude what's going to happen now. The DXY is still bearish. Okay. What do we have to open this week for DXY? Now, tomorrow, by tonight, from maybe 8, 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Nigerian local time, and then the market is going to start opening as the Asian session. Now, so what I'm going to look at for is that we have on a daily candle pattern, we have up and down of it. If we're going to aggressively move down, which is going to intimidate a lot of people, I will be more comfortable that we can close up at the end of the week or so. But if you are going to aggressively move up, that people will actually jubilate. I told us that we're looking at this point, but nevertheless, that will have created a trading opportunity for us. But that may not end well with a lot of people because they continue to get bullish eventually, and the market now change direction. So better still that if I have this is a daily candle, that this is going to open and take out this, then that means the journey that we began here want to continue. That will make a lot of sense. But if it don't happen and we take out this, that means we're going to continue. So can we now know what's going to happen? No. You have two ways for now until we have this uptaking, even to the extent of this point, then we know we still continue. But we have this, a closer range, then we're going to continue buying. But whichever way, at the market open will determine. But for now, generally speaking, the DXY strength is still weakened. Even when we have a very strong news last week, all right, and it printed a lot of buy opportunity. And we told some persons after the news, forget the market will resume where they were going. And that's exactly what happened. So the first impact or direct opposite impact of DXY is the pairs of currencies against it that of another economy entirely, which is the euro. So for that, if that is the case, remember the euro were actually having a nice time going down eventually. And I told everybody, I say, you know what? This euro that was going down because of DXY's sudden change of direction and got weakened the more because that was what really happened here when the DXY had a move up at this point and were to continue moving up, because if you have been following up for many years now, you can see the way we have been following the narrative of DXY, many, many years back, right? This was 2023, however, and this is the time I was telling, if you want to buy Euro USD, continue just buying. Even if you pull back, don't worry, continue to buy, and we have that down here. Then continue to sell eventually here until we return back here again, all right? And then you can see that was 2024, last year. Then we say, okay, this Euro USD should be crashing while the USD, JPY, and all of that. You don't need to really be in all the PS. What you are looking for is money, as it were. And that's exactly. After then, as remember, of continue to buy Euro USD after where we had this. Now we're selling Euro USD at a point here until we have a change of the market movement, however. Now, that's the dynamics about the market. So as it were now, if we're going to have the DXY now to really face a power up, that means you're going to have Euro USD crash down, but it's still having a very strong support here. Now, listen, now, so that means opportunity there for me to have Euro sell down, right? This week back to this. That's looking at 129 pips thereabout. And if this guy too, that's the DXY, now gets stopped from here or even here. So it has a lot of stoppage or, hesitation here, over here, and here. So if you look at it inwardly, this is where people miss some chunks of money they ought to have made. And to be realistic, when do we say that dollar have regained his strength, the strength back until we go above 103.271 region? That's when you say, okay, it has regained its strength practically. On this point, it's still at the floor, however. But before then, a lot will have happened. You will have made a lot of money, and that's the reason why you look at the market and you return to review it again so that you will not miss out of important region. So you can look at Euro USD. So imagine if you are waiting for Euro USD to return back to this point before you take it serious, or even here. That will have been chunks of how much pips, for instance, from where it is down to this point right now. That's about 266 pips thereabout. So which is workable for you. Ordinarily, DSY should regain the strength to an extent, even if it will crash further, so that this, what we call displacement, the euro should cover and mitigate this displacement. That means I can forecast ahead of time that I should record downward about 260 something pips of euro USD. All right. That is to say, I should be looking for sell in Euro USD tentatively, depending on what DXY do at the opening of today, which markets open more properly tomorrow, Monday, right? So that's one of the things. So you are tentatively looking to be bearish in selling Euro USD. And of course, whatever happened to Euro USD, though may run faster or depending, so you can correlate to GBP USD. And I told us last week when the news was happening, I said GBP USD is weaker than Euro USD. Euro USD got some momentum because of macroeconomy associated with the euro, as it were. Now we saw the GBP. So it means whatever happens to Euro USD, we get weakened, and then we have the movement of the DXY. So that means from wherever we are now, we are looking at average of 230 pips for GBP USD. So that means tentatively you should be looking for selling opportunity on GBP USD. But after that, now when the market consolidates here, you now look at the reaction of DXY, if we will continue the selling or we get a bounce and then continue to find a buy. Now, I'm trying to do all of this for us to understand that when it has to do with the system, you don't look at only the analysis on the data or the technical. You look at both combination. I was telling somebody the other time, I said, we have in Forex trading, for instance, that you can enter a market and if you're there for 6 months, people feel, are you serious? How can one trade Forex and open a position and leave it open for 6 months? It's just the swap fee. And of course, you have some broker, it will take your commission eventually when the trade finishes. And so you have nothing to fear because they are not going to charge you swap. So it all depends on what you want to achieve per time, and that would make you to look at some broker you want to pick, in activating your account to trade and all of that. So trading is beyond scalping. Trading is more of ascertaining profit. And you ascertain profit is not only depending on scalping. So I'm trying to just let us know. Now, so you probably want to look at, okay, what's going to happen to GBP, JPY, and all of that? Well, I'm not going to go too much detail about that because I only tell friends, I say, as a beginner, if you don't want to face too much stress in your trading journey, as a beginner, over time you can begin to explore so much. You want to look at correlating instrument with US dollar so that you won't be trying to do multiple analysis unnecessarily. So one analysis can help you to achieve the type of result you are looking for fast as possible. Okay, so you can now say, okay, so if he has to do anything against dollar this week, I should be bearish in them. Look at
AUD USD, I should be bearish in it, like coming down and then targeting average of about how many pips? Now that's average about yeah, so maybe 100 pips or thereabout, give and take, right? And then of course, this actually always have correlation with gold. Australian dollar have correlation with gold and Swiss francs correlated with gold. Down they have similar movement and us why. So sometime when it's going to be bearish on them, and then I should be looking at gold to want to be bearish too sometime. Now, but look at it. Gold have told us, so I'm in gold now. Now, remember those of us who are doing challenge account, especially if you're on traded mastery. One of the first information I gave to us, and if you are newly coming in and you want to join us on the Traded Mastery Challenge account, or depending on which instrument you're actually using, even if it's not Traded Mastery, because I'm sure we have a lot of prop firm we're using, but at least we want to maximize Traded Mastery for the season. And congratulations for those of you. A lot of people were starting with me. I just finished my stage two. I said, wow, this is amazing for me. And then our target is very simple. Our target is to make sure that we're able to pass some of those accounts and oh no, gog out some of those money and build our equity on CapitalXtend. Now, many of us could understand what I'm emphasizing. When it has to do with prop firm, you are going to continually trade with conditions, but these are lessons that we learn. One of the things that give you very strong move in market and be able to consistently profitable is to have proper risk management. Most people disregard it. Now, it doesn't matter how technically sound you are in analyzing the market. If you have bad trading plan, you will have bad trading result. And it doesn't matter how many losses you incur, because some person will say, my win rate is 98%. I'm not carried away. Be careful. Sometimes most of us get carried. Even when you look at some strategy, say, what's the win rate? Say 97. That you have 97 win rate on a trade strategy, it does not guarantee your profit. That's the truth. Because win rate means the number of trade you take and you succeed. But the question is that the number of trade you take and it was successful, how much profit was that? The one trade you lose, what is the outcome? So you can win nine trade and lose, you can win nine trade and lose one. That one you lost had override all the profit of the 10 of the nine trade. These are the issues that most of us would do not understand. And that's why for me personally, I always recommend and advise people to be involved personally. It's not difficult to be involved personally in trading now. Why? AI, system, information, so you're only just copy and paste. But of course, to understand basics is very important. So looking at gold, I've told us gold had been sideways since April. Forget all of shoot out and shoot down, shoot out and shoot down again. It's getting more narrowed, right? But gold has not actually done the normal journey. Look at it. These are trend. I remember in 2023 or something when I told people to buy gold, all right, to buy gold at 1801. Yeah, I can remember 1801. And I told somebody, I say, you can hold gold for from that 1801 and do nothing, right? And just be riding it. Yeah, so somewhere here. That was 2023. That was a crazy one. Now, but how many persons actually have that gut to, now, because this what we are doing is that trading the price, in the market, bidding. But there are persons who will have bought the physical gold in the ounces and keep at home, right? Or in the gold vault. And so imagine for the person who probably have bought it at 1820, something like that. And my target for gold was that the first time we get $2,050 price. That once we get there, this was going to happen later. We're now targeting 2,500. So look at the point. Similar thing happened here on gold. That we're going sideways for a very long, excuse me, that we're going sideways for a very long time until we have a very nice breakout. Now, similar thing that is now happening for gold. Then we broke down up here and until we have a very massive move for gold. That's exactly what's happening right now on gold. Now, and I said, it doesn't matter what gold is doing, either it's trending well or it's choppy. then you can go down because it has a lot of volume. Now, one of the things that most people are even afraid of trading is gold as beginner. And that's one of the first things I recommend for people who want to pass challenge account. You now look at what's wrong with Felix. The point is this guy, for the fact that it's choppy like this, does not mean that somebody is not trading in and making money. Now, so you now look at it, what are we going to have for gold this week? We still continue our choppy movement, going down, up, and all of that. And that's why you don't need to sleep. You want to look at gold in a very shorter perspective. Let's look at it. Let's look at gold. So you can see Bitcoin doing narrow thing up and down and all of that. So if you look at gold on its own, we traded it last week, make a lot of money and all of that. But we have this in mind why trading it. We knew that gold is choppy. Forget all these things that this is a lower time frame, 1 hour time frame that we saw what gold was doing. All right. And that's what we recommend. The strategy is to just do, especially when you are a beginner, just find a way to get a very good support and resistance to get a range at which you'll be taking the trade. I remember telling people we had a double top here, and I said, okay, gold was going to be coming down. Now, a lot actually still thought that gold ordinarily supposed to crash to mitigate all this movement back to this liquidity to get it swept. And maybe we'll continue that this week. But before doing that, probably you go have gold back up here before we crash down eventually, you know. But this is the point. If you don't have a bigger picture of gold, and you are within the small scope of it, it has a way of dealing with people. Because what actually give this journey fast move that last week was the news. Then when it happens, as it finishes, it got a bounce, and there we are now for good. So what are we going to have this week for good? We're still choppy. That's the truth. But being choppy, you'd go down to a lower time frame to want to catch some good move, as it were. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I said trading gold in this season, you are not having a good trend, so you have to go down to a lower time frame. Perhaps using just 1 hour as your external liquidity, or probably 4 hours, and then go down to 15 minutes to catch some trade. Because if you are waiting for the usual kind of massive move, you may be waiting for a very long time, right? Because we have gotten this spot down for gold, and there was a nice move for us, but little choppy move and stuff like that. So if you have gold now, return back to this point this week, and then probably for us to return back either to stop here or to still come and sweep the liquidity down. But you can see that in 4 hour time frame, it's trying to create a bounce for us to continue moving up. But look at it. My ultimate target for gold this month is actually 3,600 region. But before getting there, people have made a lot of money. Remember, this is not Bitcoin that say, okay, I just want to buy it and hold it. You know, it's not Bitcoin. So you're also interested in the movement. If you go down, you take profit. If you go up, you take profit and all of that. So if it were Bitcoin, you're looking, okay, and to what extent can you even make profit on Bitcoin right now if you never bought with us in 2023, maybe less than $20,000 or 20 something thousand or $30,000 and all of that. So the best bet you can do is to trade it. And to even do the trading is not spot. What you can do is to contract trade it. In a contract trade of Bitcoin, it's either you contract trade it on a broker on an exchange like Binance, Bybit, and I use CoinW practically, and then you contract trade it on CoinW, or you contract trade it as a kind of is it commodity or equity or whatever on the Forex broker, for instance, or CapitalXtend we use. All right. So give and take to see Bitcoin. I'm looking at Bitcoin continuing to come and sweep liquidity at 109, $110,000 and probably crash down again. You know, we have a very strong limitation for Bitcoin over this point, and it has been a very big struggle. I think I moved to Bitcoin already. People say, are you done with gold? Yeah, I want to see gold still continue ranging. And then the strategy you use in trading it, because it's not trending. So I won't tell you this is what you are going to buy. So opportunity in gold is still buy and sell. It's not a buy or it's a sell. What do I mean by buy and sell? Meaning why you just long gold in another few minutes or so, you are going to see a sell opportunity. Okay, look at Bitcoin now. Can you see? While you sold down, and I told you that it gave me TP1, TP2. The TP3 didn't come up. And then, so this is the dynamics of the market. In the same market that was crashing and you have taken profit, TP1, TP2, see the same market now presented a buy opportunity and have another TP1, another TP2, another TP3 as it were, right? That's the same market. So that means what you're going to be having is buy and sell and not just a buy as it were. Okay, look at gold. There was an existing buy that last week that is still holding on. So if care is not taken, when this open, if it's going to continue buying, probably is to come down, maybe wiping out even this low and probably not getting to this stop loss or even wipe up to the stop loss and then reset a new buy. But if you look at as at last week, the last presented opportunity was like another buy opportunity. All right, let's look at it to this profit level, which about 3355 region and all of that. These are just capping, for instance. So, but looking at Bitcoin for us to have within the shortest time for people who are doing, small scalping trading and all of that will have find an opportunity to have bought in Bitcoin and all of that. So that's the same thing. Bitcoin, is it time to do the normal long buy that we buy? No, it's time to buy, sell, buy, sell. Like I said, I told a lot last week that we have this. It kept creating a lower high repeatedly until we're now having a stoppage now. Look at it. This is a high. This is a high. And now this is another high that is now stopped. So ordinarily, after sweeping this liquidity, was taking an aggressive move down. A lot of people will conclude that we're supposed to be selling down probably to come and stop over here at 105,000, right? At 105,000 region, perhaps. That's where, and then probably sweep the liquidity and bounce. But we have a very nice stoppage when it was coming down. And here you have, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, so 5. Yeah. So we have these, and the market stop all over again and want to continue. So that means you're looking at 109 to about 110 and getting this liquidity sweep, probably sell down, or we have a forceful move out and then targeting $127,000 this month. This is month of July. Remember, I told us that 2023 that while we're crashing down, the market was very, very terrible and difficult. But I said, well, for me, forecasting with some of those data I have, I was foreseeing the top of the roof for Bitcoin, in the month of August, September, probably extended October. And yeah, if you delay die, but by the time you're entering November, I'm sure it will be FOMO. People will just buying the top without knowing, ignorantly, and then until the market, Bitcoin have that character. Now, it will be pressing down, you wouldn't know that is bye-bye is saying to us and all of that. And that was why I say, well, if all things being equal, which is not a compulsory deal, that we can now see maybe Bitcoin to $156,000 or $176,000. But first, haven't broken those 99. For me, what Bitcoin is doing now is extra time because the first target was the movement of Bitcoin was abnormal. The first target was 99,000. What is that? Something? Yeah, 91,000, then 110,000, 91,000, 110,000. I think it has done all of those ones. So anything is doing now, according to our local dial, it's Jara is what it's doing for me. And so, but able to break that. But before then, see opportunity that one will have been making money while Bitcoin was doing those dialing as it were. So we ought to have that here, but let's see what happened. Close of the market today. We close above this range, then we continue moving up. Then we close below this range in a bearish candle pattern. Then we come back to see this liquidity. This is 105, or return back to this point again, 101, and that same 99,000 where before. And so that's one of the things. You can't make jungle justice. You don't get into the market when a candle has not been closed, as it were. So the same thing happened. I've said the market, we buy, we sell, and then we make money and invest. And that's just the pure thing that we look at. The same thing happened to why we're trading the synthetic market, right? We trade the synthetic market. There's so many markets we trade, and then we make money and help ourselves. Because I'll tell people, I say trading is like hustle. Yeah. So I tell people, I say trading is like hustle. So if your trading is like hustle, now you can scalp. Because that's one of the advantage of people who are trading synthetics and all of that. You can scalp without looking back. If you can follow your algorithm, probably you can scalp and make a lot of money, right? So, like if I have time to stay on screen, I can scalp 1 minute, 2 minutes, and you will have collected a lot of money, right? And then yet being able to save all this money into other stuff, as it were. So what I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is this. The reason for the necessary skills and in exploring the market is very, very important. You get it, you make the money, but what to make is not what really matter. What to do with what to make is an essential stuff, because many a time people don't look at all of those areas. People just come around, oh, so this is like Well Trade is one of the broker we use for synthetic trading and all that. I know many of you who trade synthetics. What to know much about is this broker Deriv, all right? So, but we use Well Trade to trade some other instrument, as it were, right? My favorite instrument is AT. You probably wouldn't understand that, but that's my favorite instrument so much that I trade and I love trading it most time. But so, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm sharing with us is that understanding that the bottom line of your trading or whatever thing you are doing in the market is to be able to have money to invest. Now that takes me to when I recommend a lot of stocks for people. This is the one of the craziest local stock that shocked me so much, which is Presco. I told a lot of people when the Presco was did all-time high of 200 naira per shares, and later came down to 100, no, 97, 110, 117 naira per share. So a good number of people, I told them to buy, but of course they were not seeing anything important. In fact, I actually remember somebody told me that I can't buy local stock. What am I using it for? Right? Now, GTCO, so please, if you are listening to me, GTCO, so I think because I was foreseeing some data that I was still going to push some strength in the financial institutions shares in Nigeria. I think this will be one of the most expensive banking shares in Nigeria, the local stocks in Nigeria right now, which is the GTCO. But that was the same GTCO that was sitting down below 30 naira for a very long time. All right. And I still recommend it to a lot of people to buy, but I don't know how many of them bought it. Now, a good number of people thought that, okay, once you buy stock, say, no, stock is for old people. You're wrong. Because so imagine speculators who have even been trading stock in your local currency or depending and all of that, buying a stock at 13 something naira or even 40 naira and selling it at 80 naira in less than 1 year. I'm not sure it's a bad business. That's unheard of. Stock market is not for babies ordinarily, but it's a place where even within the limited amount of money, let me use our local currency if you're in Nigeria, you can buy stock of 1,000 naira, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you heard me right. I was another stock I think I did a recommendation for at the point was what's this called? No, it was not Fidelity, but Fidelity too is another. And I think Fidelity is still cheap for anyone. Was Wima? Let me check. So let me check. Sorry. Now I'm doing all of these recommendations so that when you are trading, you are making money. What advantage do I have to buy into a stock? I can have a reserve money, so it doesn't matter. Just what we call diversification. Now you spread your tentacles. There's a stock that surprised me so much. I think they are into healthcare. Um, so those of you on our forum, I sent a document. I sent a document to that shows us. I sent a document that gives links for where you can register and buy stock. A lot of people still chat with me. So sorry, where can I buy stock? I laugh because most of you only ask me you want to buy stock when you saw some of those results. But I can tell you at the beginning, it was not encouraging. So you can imagine you bought a stock that stayed for 1 year, 2 years and was not growing. All right. Oh, wow. Look at the WIMA. Now, WIMA was another stock I know I kept repeating about for a very long time. Now, I have a client who bought, I didn't know when he bought his stock on WIMA because he was not looking at data. He was just buying, let me say, rationally, right? And then after when we look at it, and thank God for the type of mindset he had, because I've told us if you don't have investors' mind, even trading, you won't trade well. And I told him, I said, you know what? Just leave this stock, it's going to recover. And guess what? And I told him if you want to buy more, now that's it looks stupid. Investment, and that's why I don't give investment advice. I can only give friendly advice because I'm not what they call them, your financial advisor, but I can give you friendly advice. So a lot of people will tell me, why will I buy into this stock and all of that when I can buy into coins? But even the same coin you tell them to buy, some will say, why will I buy coin and hold when I can do future trading? Why will I buy coin and hold when I can do forex? I remember I make $1,000 so time. I was teaching somebody one day, and he made within 5 days, he used $120. Don't get it wrong, and don't get twisted by all of those things. And I know that's what killed many people today, not to achieve their dream in the financial system, right? And this fellow used $120 to make $5,700 within 1 week. And he was so excited. And I knew that he changed his vision immediately. And what was the vision change? The vision change was that you will know that such person, there's no message I can preach to him to buy stock. He will never. There was no message I'm going to preach to him to buy coin and hold. He will never. But guess what? As at those time, he was jubilating about his trading result, having pushed $120 to $5,700. Solana as a token was still as low as $15 per coin. And then when I say, okay, buy coin, and you remember most of you in Plan B, when you are trading, I tell you, I say, no matter what to trade, as when you make your money, go and buy coin and hold. Now you will be tempted to ask, why will I buy coin and hold when if I can use $20 to make $5,700, right? If I can use with 500 with 120 to if I can use $120 and I turn it to $5,700, is it not a waste of time for me to use $1,000 to buy a coin and wait for it for 2 years? When the jungle mature, you will know why we're saying that. Now look at when this fellow was the stock of this person was down on WIMA, it was 5 naira per shares. No, seven. I told him, I said, assets are 7 naira now, but it's still going to come down to about 5 naira. Wait for it. When it come down, look for more money and buy. Meanwhile, he had volume of the shares, and they say another person, somebody called Felix, is now telling him buy more when it come to 5 naira. He looks so foolish. Either he listened to it or not. Perhaps if he didn't sell the one he hold, then if he had bought with 5 naira per share, at 15 naira, he have done 200%, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm not sure it's a bad business if from last year, November or August, give and take, right? August, September, November, September, whatever, and you bought into a shares that now this is the month of July. It's less than a year, and you have done 200% profit. I'm not sure it's a bad deal. Truth, right? That's the truth. But good number of people when we tell, and I still remember I was shouting when they say Nigeria, the telecommunication, MTN, increase tariff. I was not bothered. People were saying, oh no, wow, these people, and a lot of you're using data, call. See, this is what I do. Now, MTN increased tariff. Okay, no problem. I knew what was going to happen. What's the implication? Their shares will go up. That's the truth. I'm not giving you data. I'm just giving you certain scenario. I said, okay, where will I collect my money back? The one they are collecting from me. I'll buy in their shares. So as I bought into their shares, and the price of their shares that time came down to 169 naira per shares. And I told a lot of people, I said, go and buy the shares. Keep it. As they are charging you their data and all of that, they'll be collecting from there. So it will be give and take, to be internal economy. But where it will be more painful for you, you didn't have their stock, and then you are paying more data, you are making so much call, and you don't have a place you can collect the money back. Man, I don't think it's worthwhile. And that's exactly what happened. Oh, GTB, the way GTB, they cut my charges, no problem now. Let them be cutting. I will cut them from another place. Not illegitimate. Buy their stocks. The dividend GTCO paid this year was massive. I've never seen it before. A company that was going to that give you declared dividend of about 7 point something naira per shares. I was shocked. And last year, May, I think it was 1 naira per shares dividend that was given. 1 naira per share dividend that was given. When I saw the report on my dashboard on one of my brokerage firm, and when I saw the dividend, I divided it by the number of shares that was there, and I saw that it was average of 7 point something naira per shares. I was shocked. Now, so with the dividend and the price appreciation, that's something massive. 169 naira per shares if you buy. I remember what I bought MTN shares that time, when before they weren't even publicly listed to other things, 158 naira per shares. Now, dividend have been paid over and again and all of that. Maybe I think since 2021 or something. Now, so if you now have bulk of that shares, the dividend they pay you over time and the price appreciation. Now, this is a story for another day. The strategy of maintaining kind of steady growth in your stocks is a strategy, it's a formula. I don't teach concept. It's a formula because there's always a time when dividend are going to be calculated. And if you have not bought into that share that time, even when you buy into that share later, when dividend are paid, you are not going to be part of the paid. Now, another strategy is this. When the shares, then the dividend is being calculated already. Even if I sell my shares and I want to buy into another company shares, because I'm looking at, okay, this company, when they share their dividend over time, it's certain that we are going to have some correction in their price of the shares. So for that, I want to sell part of the shares and buy another company shares that still have low price and yet dividend have not been declared. So that means I'm going to sell and make profit and keep the remaining one. They will still pay me dividend on the full volume before I sold because it has been captured. Just like you say, airdrop is captured and all of that. Now I take that same money to another company and I buy, haven't bought and keep. When dividend is going to be declared on that, and I press appreciation, I will still make money. These are strategies. So when I listen to people that I don't know how to this, I'm struggling this, or doing Ponzi scheme, I say it's your choice because it just practically that way. So, ladies and gentlemen, and then the foreign stock, there was a time I told people to buy Evida when it was, I think it came down to, forgetting the price. Now, this is a tech, was it network or something? What's going on? Oh, no. So let's go. Evida, not the X. NASDAQ. Good. Now, so this stock was down at a point very, very cheap. I've forgotten last year. And even this year again, okay, last year, August. Oh, no, even this year, sorry. Even this year, it came down to, I think, lesser than $100 per share. Yes, good. This one, less than $100 per share, about it's something dollar per shares. And I was talking about it. Now, somebody will ask me, Felix, why will I buy shares where I can double my money in trading? Okay, no problem. When the jungle mature, you understand what I'm saying. But this is stock. And when I told people buy these shares and all of that, now it's 7 naira per shares. Let's say you didn't even buy, got to 90, 100 naira per shares. Now it's seated at $159 per shares. Yeah, you heard me right. $159 per share. This is foreign shares. So we have platform to where we buy foreign shares, stocks, and all of that. The good thing is this: there are some stock I make crazy money. I think in 2019 I make money on a particular shares, but because of that another macroeconomy kind of a thing, I made a lot of money on it. Then we bought volume of it eventually, where we noticed that the price had come down. But guess what? The same share is still nose diving up till now. So you should know that definitely you can have such issues, which is new. This shares, I bought it at $2 $3 in 2019, and I sold some at $50, $60, $63. Yeah, this same share you're saying. And when it was nosediving, we thought we have gotten the floor at about 10 naira, 9 naira, 12 naira. We bought a lot. And then nosedive. It went back to 16 naira. We say, okay, now it's going to make a lot more. We're expecting to sell it at 23 naira. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are up to now.
It came down. It went back to about about $7, $8 again. And then was okay, maybe now to recover, here we are. But there are factors, there are external variables that are responsible for this. This is similar to kind of Tesla kind of a thing. Company is a Chinese company, but listed on New York Stock Exchange and all of that. We knew certain things that happened around it and all of that. But this is what I'm just telling us, that essence of diversification. You are trading, making money, you're trading, spreading your tentacles in investing. It's a big, big, big advantage. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are running now and then we're making move. And those of you who are on our 90 days challenge, I know a lot of people have forgotten. We started 90 days challenge. 2 month pass. This is the last month, which is month of July. July, we say it's going to stop at July 30th, if I'm not mistaken, that July 30th or something. And then, so that will be 3 months. And the 3 month was that we said we want to see how many number of people will pass the challenge account and have minimum fund of $5,000 in their CapitalXtend. Well, some have passed, some have made withdrawal already, right? Some have made their first withdrawal. Some have passed their level 1 and they are in stage 2. Some have passed their stage 2, they are on now live funding account and all of that. Now, so before the month wrap up, we want to see number of people that will be able to have their personal funding on their CapitalXtend, and then from there build up equity as much as possible. And so that, because I know many of us missed out of the mother, we call it the mother cycle of crypto. Now, yes, fine, another one will come, but it may not be massive as that and all of that. And so what if we didn't crash very well? If we crash very well, that will amount to a big, big opportunity for buying eventually in the crypto. But if it didn't crash very well, the next cycle may not be too juicy like before. But nevertheless, if you have a lot of money, then you can buy a lot of coins and still maximize what you need to maximize. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the summary tonight that I really want to give to you, and why we encourage everyone to settle down and build up personal, involvement. Your personal involvement in this space does not actually call for, abandoning your primary job and all of that, but you are leveraging, okay? You are leveraging on information, copy and paste, and all of that. There's so many of those things that will always be provided. And so that's all what you need. So you're welcome tonight, those of you who were invited by your friend, forever where you are invited from. That's a very nice one. The person felt well for you, and that's why he wants to let you know. And so if I must tell you, this is Plan B. It's a call operation, do it yourself. We don't love, we've seen a lot in Ponzi scheme. Maybe I'll just tell you in 2 minutes. Ponzi scheme is a crazy sickness. The people you expect that they are already healed out of it, they are not healed. Once the parasite gets you, no, parasite is a very terrible kind of pathogen. If you get into the host until it destroys that host, so Ponzi scheme is as wicked as the devil himself, to be very candid. It does not let people learn. It does not let people hear. It denies people things that will have helped them in their future. And that's one of the craziest things. And we have seen the good, the bad, the ugly. All right. I've lost crazy money on different platforms. It's like it's not like it, and all of that. So that's why we encourage people to please. And what we have today is very simple. You have free education, you have free platform, you can learn basic, okay? Learn basic and you make money rather than jumping around, inviting people to different Ponzi scheme. They will always come. They will always come because they know that people are gullible and people say, oh, I'm taking risk. If you're investing in Ponzi scheme, that's not risk. It's not risk. That one is stupidity. That's the truth. Risk is not, for instance, all this thing we are talking about is risk. We bought into company stock, it's risk. So it's you, but you are only calculating that this company may do well, and by the time this company do well, I'm going to make so amount of money and all of that. And so eventually the company may not do well. They will have some issues, crisis, and all the like, and that will affect your investment, okay? And so you will not have the kind of bad outcome and all of that. Those are risks. Like those people who are doing trading, okay? You are doing trading, and then you envisage that the market was going to go up, and then you enter the market, but eventually the market, instead of going up, it was nosediving,
And that's why you put in what do we call it? That's why you put in stop loss and all of that. So those are risk. But when people said you better register now before it crashes, all of them they are risk. We are taking risk because this is the stock I was looking for. I don't know the potential of how somebody was asking me last week, can I still buy? I'm sorry, I really do not have time to finish my analysis again if it has potential of going to 66 naira per shares. But I remember when I was shouting about this stock was about 12 naira per shares, right? And eventually it sat at about 15 naira for a very long time. And so this is one of the stock that have given me very, very much move. And so somebody was asking me, can I still buy? I think when it was 42 naira, can I still buy? But I can't really say. Probably maybe within the week if I check the potential, because I expected some good correction, but unfortunately it's not doing that. I expect some correction, massive correction back to 20 naira per share. So, but I really need to know when their dividend and all of those things, so that if that correction will happen now or later and all of that. Well, but that has really, really moved as much as possible. So, but there are some banking stocks like Zenith Bank, some other bank. I think UBA. I saw some buy up last week or something, or no, last month or something. UBA, yeah, UBA. Yeah, so there are some of them, they are still very cheap or something that you can take advantage of. Okay, so please just permit me, I would find time to get it so that a lot of people send me message and I was not too free to have replied you of what you need to do, as it were. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. You have any question, of course, you can just type it and then I can respond to you because today was so extensive. And those of us who are in our movement, please get ready. The market will soon open. Strategize. Remember, review your instrument and not when you want to get into the market. You say, okay, let me check. Review your instrument at hand. It's sacrificial in nature, but it works and better. You can make sound decisions rather than jumping around and waiting for what is not lost. Okay. It's so important. So let's move and then take advantage of the market. Remember, you cannot you cannot be in charge of the market. You can only be in charge of your emotion. And so let's work on our emotion so to better ourselves. So thank you very much. And do have a nice rest, everyone. I love you all. And so let's take advantage of every opportunity we have to build up and help people around us rather than to give them Christ. Truly speaking, we make a lot of resources available when you jump on the group. We say request for the Google Drive simple training to understand our strategy pass. Okay, that's simple, primitive, yet profitable strategy. It's not only limited to crypto or forex, it's all even included to crypto, synthetics, forex, and everything you want to call it just trading. All of them are actually available. All right. And then those of you who are not maximizing the airdrop of FMC Pay, try because I don't know when it will stop, but let it not be when it stops. You now say, oh, if I had known, um, nobody know how long it's going to go. So because that's the first participation for you, register on the FMC Pay exchange and then do your KYC. To do your KYC, you have to let your picture, because a lot of people have sent me a message that my KYC was not approved. If you don't do it on a white background, both the personal picture and do it in daylight, not using the bulb or whatever, electricity and all of that, they may not approve it. And the all edges of your ID card should be captured, and then that's going to be done. Okay. And then for the staking, remember, because most time I don't have energy for over advertisement and all of that. If we check now, FMC paying token is one of the projects that maybe, let me say, I've not heard on any radio in Nigeria, for instance, but that's a project that at least this 2025, this is my third year on the project, for instance. And it pains us when we look at we didn't maximize as early as possible. But what I call it salary structure. That's the truth. Because, yeah, so it's not noisy. You don't, and not everybody who are all those network marketers, or I call them network marketers, not really those people who love hit and run. They don't promote it because it just as it is. It looks too slow to them. How can I be making 9% in a month? And no, when I see a place, I put my money, and in the first 2 months, I'll recover all the capital and all of that. But we are seeing them everywhere today. So go and register on your FMCP, verify your account, do the KYC, and then be claiming the airdrop. Nobody knows how much is going to go. And the promo that is still going on there on the paying staking, you stake $3,000 worth in your account, and the promo of 20,000 FMC token is given. And so if you are smart again too, even when they give you 20,000, if you have some money, you can buy and add more. I remember those one we bought 2 years, 3 years ago. I know how much they are worth now, and we stake it, and we know how many volume we have added to it. All right, so thank you very much, everyone. Do have a nice rest. Bye for now.